Good afternoon. Happy Monday. I'm going out this evening with my wife. It should be fun. A date night, as it were. We're going to go to a Brazilian steakhouse where apparently they bring around cuts of meat on swords. I don't know why you would bring a cut of meat around on a sword, but apparently that's what they do. It's supposed to be fun, ethnic. I prefer my steaks to come out on plates, not swords, but I'm old-fashioned, apparently. Anyway, so I happened to see a bit of a video where Lane Myers, the juggernaut of knowledge about the law, who's won innumerable cases and is held in much more esteem than a lowly first-year family law attorney could ever be. He was in court remotely, so he wasn't actually physically present in court. Rather, he was making a remote appearance at a motion hearing in a criminal case that he's involved in. He's a defendant in Arizona. Now, if you're at all familiar with Lane Myers, he doesn't handle any of that well. He's not a very nice person. If I was a psychiatrist, I might diagnose him with oppositional defiance disorder, but I'm not a psychiatrist, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. So take that with a grain of salt. He could have anything or nothing, but he probably has oppositional defiance disorder. He probably has a drug addiction problem, and he probably has ADD, ADHD, whatever you want to call it. But that's just me guessing as a layman. Anyway. So at the beginning of this particular motion hearing, the judge read out a lengthy admonishment that no one was supposed to be recording this particular hearing because the court had expressly not given anybody permission to record it or to broadcast it. And here was Lane Myers both recording it and broadcasting it. So way to go, team. So that's strike one. Strike two is essentially he was saying some pretty terrible things about the judge. She, I believe, gave him 3 warnings to essentially address her respectfully. You know, not tell her that she's stupid and that she doesn't know what she's doing and she's incompetent and blah blah blah. It's really never a good idea to approach a judge that way. And let me give you some real world appreciation for why that's the case, because lawyers don't do that, or at least 99.9% of lawyers don't do that. You very rarely see a lawyer being rude to a judge because that judge has the power to make the decisions. There's a lot of decisions that just basically come down to abuse of discretion, where the court has discretion to make a decision, and the only way that a court of appeals will overturn it is if they abuse that discretion, like if they make a ruling that's completely dissociated from the facts or the law or whatever, that no reasonable judge would have been able to make. I mean, that's pretty much the standard. So if there's anything that can support the judge's position, your odds of winning on appeal are very low. So it's usually best not to be a dick to the judge, usually. Now, whether or not this particular judge is assigned as a judge for all purposes for the Lane Myers criminal case, I don't know. He might get a completely different judge for trial. But you have to remember that a lot of things at trial, I know Lane doesn't really understand this, but a lot of things at trials come down to evidence. Who does the finder of fact believe? What do they believe? What evidence do they find credible? What evidence do they find to be not credible? And so I've seen questions like in my Discord about, you know, are videos preferred to eyewitness testimony? And the answer to that question is, well, maybe, but you got to remember the finder of fact can find the eyewitness to be more credible than the video. I have seen instances where judges have said, I don't place as much emphasis on that video. I don't believe that video is accurately depicting the situation, and I'm basing this on the eyewitness testimony. I've seen that come about. It can happen. And so a finder of fact has a lot of power. An eyewitness who contradicts a video can be enough for a judge to rule against whoever the proponent of the video was in favor of the eyewitness and have it not be overturned on appeal. It's the substantial evidence burden of proof, I guess is what you'd call it, as opposed to the abuse of discretion standard. So why am I talking about this for 6 minutes? The reason why I'm talking about this for 6 minutes is because then somebody, an attorney, said, oh, well, at least he didn't get found in contempt. And I have to respond to that and say, he didn't get found in contempt yet. Yet. The judge made a point of warning him 3 times. Now, judges, for whatever you might think of them, are probably not stupid. Could a stupid person become a judge? Sure. It's not outside of the realm of possibility. But is a stupid person likely to become a judge? No. Usually, no. Possibly, yes. Usually, no. So I would assume that any judge that you go in front of is not stupid. And even if they are not the brightest judge in the world, they probably understand procedure and have at least a grasp of what makes a better finding of contempt than a worse finding of contempt. Now, can a finding of contempt get overthrown? Sure. Do judges make mistakes? Sure. But when a judge is going out of their way to remain civil despite being called names, to set up an admonishment after the hearing starts on camera where it might be recorded. The funny thing is that Lane Myers, even though it's not a court of record, Lane Myers might be providing the record to the court to hang Lane Myers and to make it stick. So you've got that admonishment where he is actively and knowingly in violation of it. And then you have him on his video calling the judge names. I mean, this is a fairly easy contempt case to prove. I would hate to be the attorney representing Lane Myers in this civil contempt case, or in a criminal contempt case for his actions taken against that court today. So I'm sure it makes for excellent YouTube watching. And I'm also sure that it wouldn't be that long of a sentence, even if he was sentenced to serve time in jail, which he might not even be. It might just be like a fine kind of situation. So it might be worth it to him for the amount of clicks and views and attention that he gets on YouTube. But I just have to caution people. I see so many people watch these YouTubers go out and do things that the YouTubers do. Why is she running? I don't know. I see these YouTubers do things that are questionable like this, and then other people go out and emulate it. And you don't always know. Your situation might not be their situation. Your judge might not be their judge. Your ability to do jail time or to pay fines might not be their ability to do jail time or pay fines. They might have a much larger audience generating a lot more income than you have, and a lot more people supporting them via Patreon or GoFundMe or something like that. So I just would caution people that see him apparently get away with this today, that he might not, in fact, get away with it. There might be something coming down the road, and he's got to go in front of this judge again, and she might just be waiting to have him physically present in the courtroom before she finds him to be in criminal contempt. So I just have to caution everybody on this. maintain your perspective, things might not be as they appear. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.